Another day here, and Sandey Adelaja here. Never judge people if you have not been through what they have been through, if you have not been to where they have been. Never judge people if you have not been through what they have been through. Shegun Fatubo, you are the first person here today. You are taking first position so often. Well, good morning, everyone. If you are there, let me greet and appreciate you. Fungi, Baby Jew, or Baby Jew, blessings. Pastor Irene from Manchester. Benga Yodele from London. Paulo, blessings. Mag, hello. Olayinka, good morning. Mufoluke, blessings. Nikki Okoro, blessing. Laura, Natalia Valentinovna, Uvero, Ifeanyi, Andrew, Shegun, Gideon, blessings. Mashu, Adebayo, Jay, Magdalena, Oluwatoyin from Cyprus, Wale Aina, blessings. Fawa from Australia, Brisbane, Moses, Pierre, Koam from Northern Ireland as well, Mayo Mark from South Africa, Fleur from France, Anna from Texas, Troy. Yeah, let's begin to press our share button as well. Fumi from London, Scott, Margarita Christova from, I think, Bulgaria, Peggy, blessings to all of you, Joti Dowu, Fumi, Adewuse. Yes, I would like to encourage all of you to begin to share the buttons. Wonder Hands Ventures from Lagos, Aaron Christian Bahadas from Indonesia, I guess, Zeldin, Joel, Jezebel, Bahrain from Bahrain. Wow. Victor Ogunikwe said he has shared the link already. Denise Wright, Harun Christian Bati, Ladi Shorunke from California. Well, let's go ahead and share the link. If you have to go back to your timeline, please do that now and press the share button before you come in, so that you come back in before we start. So let's go share the button. Let's go share the link, the message with our friends. Let's go share press the share button. Mohammed Aziz from London Bridge, UK. Scott from Michigan, Portage, Michigan. It's shared already. Emily, Isong, Adeniyi. Yeah. Okay, Harun Christian wants me to pray for him because he has no child. Well, we agree with you right now that God will bless you with that baby in the name of Jesus. Tatiana Shigrin from Ukraine. Yes, I know where you live. You live right in my house here. So, so nice to see you that you are watching my program as well. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, we're ready to go for another day. I'm sure that those who want to share have shared. Charles Smith, watching from London. Joseph Akomodi says, how is your bigger brother? Yeah, my brother Ty, yes. Yeah. My brother is okay. He's doing well in Moscow. Akuma from Indonesia. Gloria, Edward, Vanessa, Balogun, Manchester. Please. Well, here we go. What is the topic for today? The title for today is, I hope you are ready for another week of wisdom tips. Wisdom tips for daily life. Wisdom tips for daily living. So what's the wisdom tip for today? The wisdom tip for today is never judge people if you have never been to where they have been. Never judge people if you have never been through what they have been through. Don't judge people. Let's quit that habit. I tell you, it's very painful. I've always read that passage in the Bible when Jesus says, don't judge people in Matthew chapter 7. And he said, don't judge. And I mean, he was so categorical about it. And I've always been saying, I don't know, why won't you judge when so many people are doing so many wrong things? I mean, it's like it's so obvious to judge, and it looks like so elementary that you see things going all around you all the time. And what do you expect for God? You want us to just keep quiet about that? How could you just keep quiet about all these things going crazy, about everything going wrong around you, and you just do nothing? But, well, I think I used to think like that when I was a little bit younger. When you are young, you have a lot of zeal. So you don't always understand the wisdom of the elders. But as I grow up, and as I add more days and more years to my age, the more I discover that, maybe Jesus was right after all. Maybe Jesus was right after all. Well, I will tell you some things that might resonate with you, that you might be able to identify with. When I was growing up, and and I thought that, why should my grandmother behave this way? Because that's the person who brought me up. I mean, I would never do that if I were in that place. I would never do this when I grow up. I would never do this. I would never do that. Judging people that you don't understand, that is probably some of the biggest mistake you could ever make. Because you don't know how you are going to behave when you get to that place. You don't know how you are going to behave when you get to that place in your life where they are. Maybe you are going to behave just the same way they have behaved. Or maybe you are actually going to behave worse than they have behaved. So Jesus said, never you judge people. You don't know what is ahead of you. Especially when you are so young and you are judging people who have gone ahead of you. One time, somebody came to me in our church here and said, because I was teaching on honor, that you should honor people, you should honor your parents, honor your father and your mother. And this man came to me and said, I will never, it's no problem. I understand that commandment to honor. I will honor my mother, no problem about that, because my mother has really been good to me. But I cannot honor my daddy. I cannot honor my father. So why can't you honor him? I cannot respect him. Okay, what's the problem? Because he's drinking. He's always been drinking. And each time he drinks, he brings disgrace to my life. And, I cannot just respect him because of, the way he's behaving and the way he's been drinking. Well, I told him, how old are you, young man? The young man said he was 30 or something, 30 years old. I said, okay, if you are 30 years old, and how old is your dad? He said, my dad is in his 60s. Okay, your dad is in his 60s. So you still have like 30 more years to catch up with your dad. Your dad has lived 30 years on this earth more than you. He's been here for 30 more years. And so his journey of life has extended 30 years above yours. So you have just started. This man has seen what your 30 years old has not offered you, what you cannot even imagine how life could present itself. Maybe you will grow up one day and you will still become worse than your father. You still have a long journey ahead of you, 30 years ahead of you. I mean, if you are judging your dad and you are judging your father that has seen things in 30 years that, he couldn't even tell you. You don't know what led to him drinking. You don't know what led to him becoming who he has become. And you don't know yet what you will become when you begin to face some of the challenges that he has faced in his life. So that if you don't understand, keep quiet about it. If you don't know why he's behaving the way he's behaving, just keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Because you don't know what is going to happen to you tomorrow. So I told this man that, he needs to respect his father, because I've seen too many examples when people condemn their fathers and later on in life, they end up doing worse things. They behave worse than those same fathers that they had condemned in the past. And I remember in my own city, this is not just a message that is just a theory. I've gone through it myself. When I became a Christian, I've always been zealous, and today also I'm always very zealous. But one thing that I couldn't reconcile is, how could you be a Christian and you are behaving in an unwelcoming way, in an uncomely way? How could you be a Christian and do the wrong stuff? Well, you don't know where people are coming from. You don't know their biographies. You don't know their history. You don't know their background. You don't know their family setup. You don't know the pain they have gone through. You don't know their injuries. You don't know their traumas that they carry inside of them. But I didn't care about that. I just said, but Jesus did that to all of you. He redeemed all of us. He died for you. But the Bible said this. The Bible said that. And I used to always say, but I used to also be a sinner, but why is it that I don't behave that way? If I don't behave that way, if I'm able to overcome that, why couldn't they overcome that? If I was able to cope with that, why is it that they couldn't be able to cope with that? And why should they behave like that? How could they be Christians and behave that way? Well, let me tell you the end of that story. It's not a very pretty one, not a very pleasant end, I tell you that one. Because each situation, each case that I could remember where I have condemned people, I have gone ahead to make that same mistake. Yes. Each time I have judged other people, I have gone ahead to repeat that same mistake or to commit that same sin. That's just the reality of it. I'm sorry, but I've got to share that with you. I've got to share that with somebody. Maybe it could help someone. Because you don't, if God says, do not judge, don't ever judge people, and you go ahead and engage in it and judge people, God himself will create circumstances and situations whereby you will do the same thing. You will do the same thing. You will do the same thing. That's just the way life is wired. That's just the way life is wired. The best thing for you to do? Just obey what Jesus said. Believe him. Trust him. If he says don't judge, you better just go by that word. Go by it. Judging is different from condemning, wrong things, but don't judge people. You could condemn wrong actions. You could condemn wrong behaviors, just like God does. God condemns sin. God condemns wrong actions, wrong behaviors, but he defends people. He loves people. He protects people. Let's see the way God, let me give you an illustration that will help you to know what that really means. You remember when they brought the lady to Jesus that was caught in adultery and they wanted to stone her? So the people were ready to judge her, really. They wanted to stone her. But Jesus stood there and, decided to defend the lady. And he stood between the lady and the Pharisees that were carrying the stones that were ready to stone this lady. But even though Jesus defended the lady, Jesus defended the person, the individual, but at the end of the day, he still told the lady, go and sin no more. So that way, he's actually condemning the sin itself, but without judging the lady, without condemning the lady. So that is a very thin line that we must know how to walk in. So you could say what is wrong. You could call things that are wrong. You could name things for what they are, but always have compassion on people. Always have compassion on people. Always have compassion on people. You never know the millions of, every person that you see, no matter what they're having or doing wrong, you never know you will never know the processes that are going on inside of them. You will never know all the complications that are in their soul. You will never know how many thousands of signs, signals, thousands of tones that are ringing behind their backs that they cannot even control at this particular time. So God is so understanding. That's why God is so understanding. At a point in the book of Psalms, it says, God understands. He knows that we are clay. We are just clay. We are just dirt. And he knows where we're coming from. He knows that we're just ordinary dirt. And so, because of that, God understands. God understands. And God will always understand. Even at a point when no human being will understand you, God will always understand. And that's why God will also wants us to be people of understanding. God, because you never know what people are going through. I remember I was listening to a message from, this really touched me strongly, from one man that, it's an American man, is living in Washington area, I think, Washington State. And he had a death experience, clinical death, and he went to heaven. So, and, his wife was praying, he was in the emergency, and they declared him dead. And, but he was in heaven, and he saw Jesus in heaven. And when he met with Jesus, Jesus told him that it's not his time yet to come to heaven, and that he must go back to the earth. But one thing that surprised him is that he saw a lot of people there in heaven that he knew here on earth that to him were not supposed to be in that heaven. They were not supposed to be qualified. They were not qualified, according to him. Because we judge people by what we see. We judge things by what we know. We don't know all the complications behind everybody's lives. We don't know the details that God knows. But God knows the details. He knows the secrets. He knows the details. He knows the reason for why people behave the way they behave. So he even said he saw one of his aunts in heaven that they thought, how could she ever get there? But you don't know what is going on in people's hearts. That's why God said, never judge people. So anyway, but when he was about to come back, Jesus told him, that I don't want anybody to go to hell. So you go back to the earth, share your testimony. I don't want anybody to ever come to that place. He showed him hell and said, I don't want anyone of my creation to come to that place. And then this man said, well, you mean you don't want anyone to ever go to heaven? He said, to ever go to hell? He said, no, I don't want anyone. So he said in his mind, the first thing that came, American Christians are very strong about the gay people and pedophile and, people who do abortion. And so this man was saying, but do you mean you don't want anybody to go to hell? Even the doctors who do abortion? God said, even they, I don't want them to go to hell. You don't want anybody to go to hell? Even gay people? Even they, I don't want them to go to hell. I died already for them not to go to hell. Then he said, okay, the one that really touched him was, okay, I still understand the abortion people. I still understand the gay situation. But what about the pedophiles? You mean you want pedophiles to come to heaven? You don't want pedophiles to go to hell? Because most Christians in America, especially the evangelicals, they have already condemned it. They've already condemned some of these pedophiles or some of these gay people because we are judging people's action. We are judging people by their actions and behavior only. But we don't know a lot of things that are hidden from our views. We can only judge what we know. We can only judge by the information we heard. And Jesus told him, no, I don't want anyone to ever go to hell, even the pedophiles. Then he was trying to argue with Jesus and said, but what do you mean? Pedophiles, Jesus, you know who they are? They are people who rape 5-year-olds. How could you rape 5-year-olds and go to heaven? And Jesus told him, hey, don't try to convince me. Don't try to, to argue your case to me. Don't try to, change my mind. Listen closely. Even the pedophiles that have raped those 5-year-olds, I don't want them to go to hell because I died for them already. And what they are doing, maybe they are doing it in ignorance, maybe they are doing it because of the pain they themselves are going through, but you will never know why people do what they do. So it's not your business, it's not yours to even try to consider or judge or even understand why people behave the way they behave. He said, I've died for that pedophile. And since I've died for him, I've paid for his sin. Even though he's still sinning now, but I've already paid for his sin. And it doesn't have to go to hell. That's number one reason. He said, yes, because I've paid for his sin. I've died for him. It's my responsibility. I've already taken the punishment for that sin on myself. I've paid for his sin. So I don't want him to go to hell. Number two, never you judge anybody, no matter who they are and what they have done. So he was saying, I'm not judging people. I just was talking about people who are pedophiles, who rape 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds. He said, I am the just judge. I am the judge of the universe. I know what happened and what will happen to the girl they raped or to the boy they raped, and what I see every situation from my own standpoint that you will never be able to see. And he said, you don't know when people behave violently, or when they rape, or when they, commit sin, or when they do horrible things. It is easy for us to just go ahead and kill them and want to pass judgment on them. But I go beyond that. I go beyond what led them to that thing. I want to see what was behind it, what their story was, what was driving them. And he said, even that pedophile that rapes kids, maybe even the homosexual, maybe he himself was raped at a tender age, as a young boy, and something went into him, maybe a spirit or something that now started manipulating him. So you don't use the same standard to judge every situation. And the same story I heard about people who commit suicide. I've heard all my life that if you commit suicide, that you will never go to heaven. But I've also had testimonies of people who have been to heaven and who have met Jesus, and they have said they've seen people who committed suicide in heaven. Maybe not all of them will go to heaven, but there have been some that have been, that God has allowed to go to heaven, even though they commit suicide. So why would God allow that? Because God knows the reason behind their suicide. God knows what led them to it. God knows, we cannot just take the position of God upon ourselves and say, oh yeah, this one will go to heaven, but this will never go to heaven. It's not our business at all. It's not our business at all. We are not supposed to judge people. We are not supposed to judge people. Let's go. That scripture has always been fascinating to me in Matthew chapter 7. Let's go check it out. I have my Bible here with me. And Matthew chapter 7 says, judge not, from verse 1, judge not that you be not judged. Okay? You understand now why, when I told you in the beginning that each time that I've condemned people, each time that I've judged someone for the wrong things they have done or they are doing, I have noticed in my life I've repeated those same things they have done, or maybe I've done worse than them. Each time I've ever judged somebody or even condemned them in my heart for them doing wrong, maybe 10 years later, maybe 3 years later, maybe 5 years later, maybe 15 years later, I've gone ahead to make the same mistake. I'm sorry. That's my confession. That's my confession. So when I now say I will never stand to judge people anymore, it's not my business to judge people. I have no business judging anyone. It is by experience, my dear. I've passed through that. I've gone through that school. It is my personal experience. Every time I've judged people, I've had to pay for it through my nose. Yeah. Yeah, it's a painful experience to judge people. And what Jesus is saying here is, judge not, otherwise you will be judged. And why he's saying that you will be judged is, it's not always that God will judge you in the sense that other people will judge you too. It's one thing for other people to judge you, but it becomes worse when God himself judges you. But what I think is happening here is that when you judge people, God himself will make room for you to be judged. That's why I say, judge not, so that you will not be judged. You will not be judged by who? Not just by people, but by God as well. By nature, by the laws of nature, you'll be judged. Just because you judge people. It is one thing for other people just to judge you, but when God begins to judge you, oh, it's not sweet, I tell you that one. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's not sweet. It's not pretty. You don't want to get to that place anymore. You don't want to get to that place when God begins to judge you. So when you see people doing wrong things, pray for them. When you don't like how people behave, just pray for them, intercede for them. If you think that you don't understand and you are so confused about what they've done, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Never judge people if you have not been to what they have been through. If you have not been to where they have been or what they have been through, keep your mouth shut. It's not your business. You don't have business judging that person. You don't have business doing it. Because when you judge people, you are inviting God's judgment upon your life. I've gone through that myself. I've experienced it. It's my experience. It's my experience. It's my experience. And God's word will never fail. If he says don't judge so that you will not be judged, he means business. God means business big time. If he says it, it means it. That's exactly what it means. Don't judge. If you make that mistake to judge people, judgment is coming after you hard. The judgment will run after you until it tracks you down and it nails you down. So it says, do not judge. It means that it's for your sake. When God is saying, don't judge, he's thinking about you first. Not about that individual that has done something wrong. It's not even about him he's thinking about you. He wants to save your head. So when God is telling you, please don't judge, he's trying to tell you, please don't run into trouble. Please don't run into trouble. If you go ahead and do that, I'm sorry. Even I, God, will not be able to help you. Even God will not be able to save you if you begin to judge other people. Even God cannot help you. And all your prayers will not help you or deliver you if you begin to judge. Even God is helpless in your situation. Because he has said that there's nothing you can do about it. You are going to be nailed. You are going to be judged pretty soon. He is coming. It might not come the first year. It might not come the second year. It might not come the third year. But you have opened the door. You have opened the door. You have opened the door. So make sure you take your decision. You make up your mind that never again, never again. I am not judging people. No, I am not judging people. I would rather pray for them. So he said, judge not that you be not judged. Then he goes ahead to say, for with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. That is, in whatever area you judge people, if you are condemning other people's family and say, oh, that man's family is so bad, he's run his family down, that same judgment that you have used to judge other people, that same area that you judge someone in, that is the same area you are going to face trial. If you say, how can these poor people be running around here and they're so poor and they don't want to work and you don't know, maybe they've been working all their lives. Things are not just working for them. You are going to be judged also the same way. You might begin to have financial situation and financial problems, and you'll be working and things might not be working out for you. Why? Because you have opened the door. It is with that judgment, with the same judgment that you judge other people, that you are going to be judged. And you could say, I've seen a lot of young pastors who say, oh, my pastor is not so good. The church is not growing. I can do better than him. I can preach better than him. Oh, I am so much more anointed than this person. I will go ahead and build a bigger church or a better church. Like when I start, in 1 year, I will just do 1,000 people. The church will grow fast. When they start their own church, when they leave from their pastors, they begin to struggle like crazy. And they don't even have the same success that their pastors have had. And the thing they say, their pastors, have not done well. They are not even doing half of it. They are even doing worse than that. They don't have half of the results. And that happens all the time. Why? Because the same judgment that you use to judge other people, God will use that same measurement against you. He will use that same judgment to counteract you and to judge you. So leave people out of the picture. If you see things that are wrong, address the things that are wrong. If you are provoked by unrighteousness, face the unrighteous things, face the unrighteousness, deal with issues, deal with matters, but not with individual. Don't touch the man. Leave the man alone. It is God is his judge. Let God judge him. God says that. Who are you to judge another man? Any man is God's servant. If he falls or he rises, it is God that deals with people. So let just God deal with people. God knows what they are and where they are, but it's not your business to do that. So God says, with what judgment that you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure that you use, so if it's a small judgment you use to judge somebody, just small, it will be small measurement you will get. But if it is a big one that you use to judge, your own judgment is going to go big and wild as well. So, and the measure you use to judge, it will be measured against you. So if you are talking behind people's back and you are condemning people at their back, I bet you will have people condemning you on your back as well. People will talk behind you also. So if you go ahead and publicize lies about people and scandal about them and ridicule them and libel against them, God will find a way to make sure that you get the same measurement. You get the same measurement. So what I'm saying is, God will not deny the truth. God is not saying, okay, if you judge people and the thing is true, if the thing is really true, then you will avoid judgment, that you will escape judgment. No, most of the time when we judge people, it's always true. It's always true. It doesn't matter if what you are saying is true or is not true. That is not a justification. You don't have justification if they actually did the thing or they didn't do it. It's just not in your interest for you to judge, even if they did it. Okay, like for example, the lady that was caught in adultery, she was caught in it. She was caught in it. And Jesus didn't argue that she didn't do it or she did it. Jesus actually acknowledged the fact that yes, maybe she has done it, because he said, go and sin no more. So it means that Jesus admits the fact that she has done it. But even though she has done it, even Jesus will not condemn. Or Jesus will not even judge the lady. If Jesus will not do it, who are you to do it? And he made the point to the Pharisees that even the Pharisees couldn't throw those stones. Because if you do it, it's the beginning of your own fall. It's the beginning of your own end. Once you see someone who is judging other people, they are at their end right there. They are at their end. That is the beginning of their end. So it says the measurement that you use to judge other people, that's the same measurement. So it's not just the same judgment. It's one thing he said. The first thing he said is, if you judge people in one area, in one sphere of life, that same judgment, you'll get it in that same sphere of life. Then the second thing he said, if you judge people with any measurement, it is the same measurement, big or small, that you are going to be judged by. And he said, if you judge, number 3, if you judge generally, you open the door into your life for you yourself too to be judged and to be condemned. And then he goes on to say, and why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? That is so deep. And that is talking about the fact that, anytime we see something wrong in another person's life, we actually have our own issue as well. We might not be having the same issue as that same person. We might not be having the same subject, the same particular sin that person is having, but we too have issue that we might not even know about, that only God knows. God knows that anybody who is capable of seeing faults in the lives of other people, of judging other people, he already has a bigger problem. Even that judgment itself, the fact that he's even judging, that is already a bigger problem than any problem he's pointing out in the life of other people. So, whatever you see in the life of anybody, in the eye of anyone, know that is only a speck. But anytime you see something that is wrong in the life of anybody, know that you also have something that is wrong in your life. In my village, when I used to grow up in my village with my mother, my grandmother, she used to tell me, don't ever point fingers at people. But they didn't talk about it in terms of judgment or accusation. They were talking about it in terms of curses or in terms of, being abusive or cursing other people. But really, it also refers to judgment, judging, condemning people. Whenever you point a finger like this, it says the rest of the four fingers, they are turned at you. They come back to you. You see, this one comes back to you. All these ones come back to you. So you get fourfold, 4 times more of what you give out to any other person. So that is what it's saying here. That whenever you spot any speck in the eye of anybody, it means you have other issues too. And anytime God allows you to see what is wrong with other people and you want to judge them, that should be like God's way of warning you that, the fact that I'm seeing something wrong in another person, it means that there are things wrong in my life as well that I need to face. I need to face my business. I need to mind my business. I need to fix my own situation rather than, abusing people, calling people names, judging them, and tearing them down and pulling them down. Don't make that your business. If you want to have a business, go and work. Go get a job. Go get a job. Don't make judging other people your own business. It is a business of the accursed. It is a business for people who are under condemnation already. Because once you begin to judge people, you bring yourself under condemnation. So it's a wrong business. It is a business for the ones who don't love themselves. Judging other people is to show that you don't love yourself at all. Judging other people is to prove that you need some spanking. You need some spanking. You are inviting some spanking into your life. So just run away from it. If you are in a meeting or you are in discussions where people are discussing other people and they are condemning them and judging them and talking about them, just walk out. Take your bag and tell them you need to go to the toilet and go to your car and just go home. Because you just need to escape from those kind of things. You need to escape from those kind of things. Or you can actually go to toilet for real. Toilet is a better place than to sit in the company of people that judge other people. So don't want to do that at all. And the Bible says that anybody that is judging other people, that is condemning other people, has issues in his own hands. And he's seen a speck, but he has a plank. So the Bible says later on, it says, and how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is in your own eye. The Bible Jesus then says, hypocrite. First remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. What is that saying basically? Face your business. We only have one business. Judge yourself. Judge your actions. Judge your own reactions. Judge your attitude. Judge your lifestyle. Judge yourself. Not your husband, not your wife, not other people's lives. Judge your own life. Judge your own life, not the life of other people. So some of these things are very important for us to know, especially because we don't know where people are coming from. And if you remember that story I just told you about the man that went to heaven and he was thinking that all the pedophiles have to go to hell. And Jesus said, you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what is behind their behavior. You don't know what is responsible for them becoming a pedophile or a homosexual or something like that. You don't know what is behind it. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know their stories. So never judge people if you have never been to where they are coming from. If they have never been to where they have been. If you have never gone through what they have gone through. There is no way you could go through where everybody has gone through before. Everybody have their own journeys. Everybody have their own road. There is just no way for us to know and understand specifically what is the reason why people do what they do. So the only thing we could do, what we're asked to do, is to judge people. Never to judge people, is to pray for people, love people, bless them, pray for them. If you don't understand, move away from there, shut up your mouth, walk away, go and do something else, but don't just open your mouth. Even in your heart, don't judge people. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you have not felt the pains of others, that is the reason why you don't have the right to judge them. If you have never felt the pains of others, you've never gone through their journey, you've never felt and experienced their pain, you don't have the right to judge them. And unfortunately, the people who judge most are the people who have never really gone through any pain, or they've never gone through that particular pain that individual has gone through. And when after that situation, after I read the story of that man that met with Jesus, and I just began to say, my God, God forgive the church. Because if you see the way the church is condemning homosexuals, we call them gay people, homosexuals. I mean, although some of these people are regular people, who are just good people. Some of them are even kinder and better than Christians. But because of their sexuality and their lifestyle, we have almost seen them in hell already. But we are not, of course, we are not condoning their lifestyles, but we should love people. We should love people. And it's not our business to judge them if they are going to hell or to heaven. That's God's business. Let God judge that. And let's just love them. And that's what we're saying. We don't know what led them to that situation. Let's pray for them. Let's love them. And on daily basis as well, at work. Some people, they don't go to work. They go to just talk. They go to work just to talk and to judge people, their colleagues and friends. So we shouldn't do that. We should always put ourselves in the shoes of other people. If you have not been where people are coming from, shut your mouth. Don't judge them. Don't judge them. And I think the first reaction we should actually consider having to people who are sinners, to people who commit or do things that we don't like, is to try to have compassion on them, first of all. Let our first reaction be that of compassion. And let's if we see people who are sinning, let's just try to have compassion on them. Let's pity them. Let's try to feel for them. Let's try to, be sorrowful about that sin. The Bible says, blessed are those people who mourn for righteousness' sake. We are supposed to be mourning for righteousness and be crying for and thirsty for righteousness and be mourning and really be crying and weeping that, oh God, this person is missing it. Oh God, have mercy on them. Oh God, help him come out. But not condemn. If we really love, we are going to weep when other people sin. If we really love, we are going to cry when other people miss it. If we really love people, we are going to just be weeping and crying and be interceding and be begging God to have mercy. But when there is no love, the next thing we do is just to condemn. It's just to condemn. So always give room to compassion before judgment. And besides that, even if people have, you've given them opportunity, because sometimes we think we have excuses. We say, but I've forgiven him so many times. I've told him this and that many times. I've corrected him so many times. Well, if you feel that you cannot, bear with that person, walk out from their lives, or, create a distance, or, just, go your own way. It's better to do that than to be judging them. If you cannot give people benefit of a chance, if you cannot give them benefit of a doubt, if you cannot give them consideration, then just walk away. But that is even much more better than for you to be judging and condemning them, because you bring a judgment and curse upon your own life. But the good thing about God is, what I like, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, is that the Bible says that Jesus can identify with every sinner in Hebrews somewhere, Hebrews chapter 4, I think 14 to 16, because he himself had been tempted in all things. Jesus himself has been tempted in all things. So because of that, he can understand those being tempted today. So he can feel our infirmity. He says we don't have a high priest that cannot be touched by our feelings of infirmity, because he himself has been tested and has been tempted in everything. Therefore, he can understand those who are now being tempted. So Jesus is totally the opposite. He's not sitting down there to condemn you or to judge us. He's rather sitting down there to understand us. And he had to go through every kind of feelings so that he'll be able to understand us better. So let me quickly make some points here for you. Let me quickly give you some points that I think will help you. Number one, before judging someone, make sure that you know all the facts. And because you will never know all the facts, don't judge people. There's no way we will ever know all the facts about a person. You might know all the facts about the situation that has just happened, but you don't know all the facts about their past. You don't know all the facts about their history. You don't know all the facts about what their motives and their hearts. So if you don't know all the facts, please don't try to judge. And there is no way we will ever know all the facts. Number two, if you don't know people's story, you cannot understand their motives. If you don't know people's stories, you can never understand their motives. And there's just no way you can know the story of every individual. Even if you live in the same house, you cannot know all their stories. And because you don't know their stories, you cannot understand their motives. Number three, don't judge people unless you know all their problems and worries, unless you are familiar with all their challenges and their worries. As I say that, I just remember I used to judge people, who come to Europe and especially our African people and try to use slicky way to get their way out, to get things done, I'm just thinking now, my God, but you don't know their challenges. I don't know their challenges, their worries, their problems, where they are coming from. I think the best way really is to pray for people. And you know what? I've been facing challenge here in Ukraine. Even though I have my papers, I have everything, but I'm having a challenge of another way, of another kind, where they accuse me falsely, and I've not been traveling away out of Ukraine for a few years now because of that. Because I need to settle the case in court before I go out. So I've condemned people and I've ripped it in my own way as well. So you don't know people. Okay, sometimes I've also heard people, I've not really done this, but I've heard people say, these are Africans that get drowned in Mediterranean Sea while they are trying to run to Europe and all that. And we judge them. How could they behave like that? How could they do that? We don't know their stories. We don't know their worries. We don't know their troubles. We don't know their background. Let's quit judging them. Let's help them. If you cannot help them, at least pray for them. So instead of judging somebody, give them a hand of help. If you cannot help them, pray for them. Next point. Most of the time, in my own case, that's what I've done in my own life, and I've heard a lot of people say that. I would normally say, I won't have done that. I won't have done that. I won't have behaved like that. Of course you won't have behaved like that because you are different. The problem with that mentality when we say, I won't have behaved like that, it means that we are trying to say, I'm better. I am better. I'm more righteous. I'm more pious. I am better. I'm more superior. I am closer to God. Or I am more righteous. And God sees that. God sees that. A man might not see that. A man might not understand the details and the unseen pride in what you have just said, that I won't have done that. But God sees that. That whenever you say, I won't have behaved like that, how could I have done that? I won't have done that. That means God sees that, okay, you are trying to say you are better than another man. And that is pride. And of course you won't have done that because you are different. But you do other things that nobody knows about. You do other things that the man also won't have done. So don't use other people's judgment to measure your own righteousness. Don't use other people's behavior to try to make yourself look better and to try to make you think that, okay, at least I'm better than that guy. We are all sinners. We are all sinners that were saved by grace, and we are all working and striving to please God the way we can. So don't ever you say, oh, well, I won't have done that. Because what we do normally is that we condemn people because they commit a sin that is not the same as our sin. Because they do a similar sin, they commit a similar sin other than the sin that we commit. We don't even appreciate the fact that we commit sin as well. All of us are sinners, no matter who you are, no matter what GO you are, overseer you are, we all still miss it. We all still sin. And the reason why we condemn other people, for example, we condemn somebody who smokes because I don't smoke. But maybe you get angry. Maybe you get envious. Maybe you get irritated. It's just a different sin you are engaged in. Don't judge people because they sin in a different way from us. Don't judge others because they commit a different sin other than the one you commit. We are all sinners. The only difference is that we all have different kind of sins. We all have different kind of sin. The only thing that really makes us better than makes us good in life is because we cling to Jesus and to his saving grace and to his blood that he has shed for us. That's the only thing that makes us different from unbelievers, from those same homosexuals and pedophiles. It's just the grace of God. It's just the grace of God. So I would also like to say, we shouldn't be saying, I wouldn't have done that. Don't be using yourself to compare yourself to others. We are all different. We are all different, and because you are all different, it means you commit different sins. Because we are all different, it means you behave differently in different situations. And the guy that is doing something that you wouldn't have done is because he's different too. He's different also. He's different also. Now, next point. You know what? Always remember, each time you see anybody sin or do things that you don't like, always remember the fact that that should remind you of your own sin, of your own shortcomings. There is no human being that is perfect right now on earth. Nobody will ever be. God made us to be flesh. And as long as we're in the flesh, the Bible says that God has put this treasure in earthen vessel. This is an earthen vessel. It's a fragile vessel. And God intentionally made us to be fragile. And he made us to have his treasure in earthen vessel just because he doesn't want us to think that we are perfect or to think that we are good. No one is perfect. No one will ever be perfect. Even though you don't know their lives, it's just because you don't know their lives. Just because you don't know their sins. You don't know their weakness. But it doesn't mean that they are perfect. Nobody is perfect. All of us are depending on God, and we are relying on God, and we are relying on God's grace. So because of that, everybody's perfection should remind you of your own imperfection. So whenever you see anybody's imperfection, remember of your own imperfection, and let that be the reason why you will never judge another person. Next point. The principle of love, one of the most elementary fundamental principles of love is do unto others as you would like them to do to you. Do unto others as you would like them to do to you. And some of us, when we are wrong, we want to be a lawyer to ourselves. We want to be an advocate to ourselves. But when others are wrong, we want to be their judge. But we want people to be our advocate when we are wrong. We want people to come to our aid, to come to our defense when we are wrong. Why don't you do the same thing? Treat others the way you would like to be treated. So when you are wrong, when you do something wrong, you want people to understand you, it means that that's exactly the same thing you should give to people. When people are wrong, when people do something wrong, try to look for understanding. Try to give them understanding. Even if you don't understand why they behave like that or how they could behave like that, try to be, because anytime you do something wrong, you always try to defend yourself. You become a lawyer to yourself. Try to be their lawyer, solicitate for them before God. Intercede before God for them. But that is hypocrisy as well. When we are wrong, we try to be our own lawyer, our own advocate. But when other people are wrong, we try to be a judge. So it's rather supposed to be the opposite. We are supposed to be a judge to ourselves when we are wrong, and a lawyer to others, and an advocate to others when they are wrong. Let's defend others. Let's find reasons why we have to defend others rather than condemn them. Next point. The next point I want to make is the point that let's practice the benefit of a doubt. Let's learn to give people the benefit of a doubt. That what benefit of a doubt basically talks about tolerance. Try to tolerate. Just hold back your opinion for a while. Hold back your opinion. Tolerate things much more longer than you would have liked to. Give people the benefit of the doubt. And there's a law principle that says that everybody remains innocent until proven guilty. Even when they are proven guilty, that is by the world standard. But by God's standard, we still don't judge people. We have compassion on them. We love them. And even when they are wrong, we still come back to them and have mercy on them and pray with them and and love them through it all. Next point. Most of the things that we judge, they are normally appearances. They are normally appearances. And most of the time when you judge by appearances, we are always wrong because appearances are always deceptive. You know, nothing is ever the way they first appear. Nothing is ever the way they first appear. So whatever you see, the first impression is not always the right one. The first impression is always wrong. So never use first impression to judge people. And don't ever even judge people. Even if you think that is what they are doing and it's wrong and you are right, pray for them. Intercede for them. Try to understand them. Don't turn it to a speck that will now turn to a log in your own eye. Next point. When we judge people, it means that we don't respect them. We don't honor them. God is a God of honor. And he says that we should honor all men. If you are supposed to honor all men, you don't honor them by judging them. You don't honor them by condemning them. Let's honor people. Let's respect them. Then the last point I want to make today, because our time is fast going, is that anytime you pass judgment on other people, you are actually not judging them. Anything you say about other people, it's a picture of who you are. Anything we say about other people, anytime we pass judgment on other people, we're actually passing judgment on ourselves. Anything you comment on people is a revelation of who you are. Whatever we say reveals who we are. So whatever people do, any way we react to it, it reveals our own heart, because your reaction is coming from you, not from them. So anyhow we react is really revealing who you are. So by the time you discover and you find yourself reacting the way you won't have liked to, it means that is who you are. Your reaction don't reveal other person's behavior. It doesn't reveal other person's heart. It reveals your heart. All your reactions only reveal who you are. So anytime you condemn people, it tells us that is who you are. You are not better than your reactions. You are not better than your attitude. Well, that's the topic for today. Never judge people if you have never been to where they have been, or never judge people if you have never gone through what they have gone through in life. Never judge people if you have never been through what they have gone through. Well, let me see what people are saying here. Clement, hi Clement. Clement says, Pastor, you are so real, so true. How we end up doing same things we judge people for. Oh yeah, I mean, it's my own life story, so I've got to tell you the truth. I shouldn't tell you that because I'm Pastor Sandey or this anointed man of God, I'm all nice and cute. No, I've been through some journey. And I think that's why you should believe me, because I've been through some things. Actually, it's very dangerous to begin to follow people, or people who have never been through anything, who say, oh, they have always been righteous and all right. And then they don't deserve to be followed because they've never gone through anything. You should follow only people who have gone through troubles, who have overcome some challenges, and who are free to talk about them. Okay, Ladi Shorunke said, hello, Pastor. You are still awake? Oh, Coxon is not talking to me. Okay. Purity Tina is saying, more grace, sir. Obina says, you have loved righteousness and hated lawlessness. Therefore, God has anointed you above all. Yes. Shako says, preach. Joyce, more grace, Pastor. Fleur says, yes, judging others is God's business. I'm not perfect. My mouth is now closed to this painful business. Fleur is learning very fast. And I like your reaction. You are taking action immediately. Let me read what she said again. Yes, judging others is God's business. So because I'm not perfect, my mouth is now closed to this painful business. That is what Fleur said. Only open to eat, laugh, bless, pray. Great message of love, Pastor. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Yeah. Thank you, Flo. That was so nice. Tatiana said, it's not our business even to judge those who judge others. Yes. Ngozi said, please, I need better understanding of this word called judgment, because Christians misinterpret correction to be judgment. Okay, that will be next time. Bebe says, good morning, Pastor Sandey from Ireland. Yetunde said, always find excuses for people when they do wrong. Learn to cultivate the spirit of tolerance. Yes. The Josh says, it's good to spend time hearing such message. It improves our relationships. That's so true. Tevita said, majority sometimes are wrong. Yelena Kostila, draws with she is also living in my house right here. Good morning, dear pastor. You are in force, on fire. That's great. Wow, you are speaking English already, Yelena. Nkiru, my best mate. She's saying, yes, we have to create or imagine reasons for people's wrong. That way we avoid judging them. That's so true. Okay, Kate he say good morning. Fahad say walk alongside people, not against them. Yeah, that's so true. Okay, Yetunde says, oh my God, I have to watch this after the broadcast. Even if you didn't miss, my sister, you still have to watch these messages several times for you to really get the gist. Fumi says, God have mercy on me for my imperfections. Give me grace to be sincere, to be sin-free. Amen. The same thing, but you will never be sin-free, really. I'm sorry for that. Nobody will ever be sin-free as long as we're in this world. That's why you are having flesh. While we're in the flesh, we can only try. And that's also another reason why we shouldn't judge other people. Adaeze says, always, whenever we judge, we've set ourselves up for scrutiny. That is so true. Adaeze. Life has a way of putting us in same condition. That is so true, Ada. You are so right. Annalyn says, how can I increase my prayer? Oh, that's another topic. Ezuma says, Pastor, you are saying beautiful things. Well, I hope so. I hope somebody is hearing, and I hope you are going to share this message. Let's go ahead and press the share button if you don't mind. Let's go ahead and press the share button and share this message today. The Josh says, so important to pray for others instead of judging them. We are all sinners. Thank you, Pastor. Nike says, so touching. Help me, God. Help me too. Even me up to now, I'm still working on not judging other people. I'm still working on it. So if you say you're okay, maybe you can teach me how. But I'm still working on it myself. Tatiana says, we often ask the question, how could he? How could he? Soon we will understand how exactly he did it. Anybody who asks the question, how could he, will soon discover how he could, because he himself will be doing the same thing very soon. Abikosh said, Pastor, this is awesome. I'm greatly blessed. Thank you for sharing this. Fumi says, this is deep. Julian says, I don't know for other people, but for me, I'm so blessed by this message. Magdalene said, pray for people rather than judging them. Nkiru says, actually, we can never know all the facts. So the bottom line is, don't judge. That's so true. Leslie said, how could I get this message? No, this message is available on my Facebook. This same Facebook where you are right now, the message is recorded. All these, my messages are recorded. Just go to the video section. If you go to the video section, you'll see all the messages there. Or you could go to my YouTube page. If you go to YouTube, Sandey Adelaja Official, Sandey Adelaja Official, all the recordings are there as well. So feel free to go ahead and watch the program again. Obinas Ikegwono says, just joining now. Jesus can't believe I missed this morning chat. Good morning, sir. For you not to miss it, you've got to remember the time. The time is always 7:30 Nigerian time or 7:30 British time in the morning, that is AM, or 8:30 AM European time, or 2:30 AM Eastern time in America, or 9:30 AM in Ukraine. And in the evening, it is Eastern time in America, 2 p.m. In the evening. And in Britain, it's 7 p.m. in the evening. Sorry, in the afternoon in America, in the evening. In the UK, in the UK, 7 p.m. in the UK, 7 p.m. in Nigeria in the evening, and 8 p.m. in Europe, and 9 p.m. here in the Ukraine. So that's it. Thank you very much. Temi Tokwe Shegun say very good topic. May God help us all, because this habit has pushed a lot of people out of the presence of God. That's so true. Kate says, I will work on myself. Judge no more. Kate, thank you, Pastor. Thank you too. Thank you. Well, my time is up today. I'll be back in the evening to do a review. It was nice being with you. Go ahead and share the button and share the link. Let the word go around. Maybe this word could help the body of Christ to be a better entity or representative of God here on earth. May the Lord bless you all. Bye. Let's go share now. Blessings.